Hi again then guys, and welcome to another tune setup for one of the new cars from 1.25. This time though, not a circuit tune or a rally tune or a drag tune. This time something which we haven't done in a little while now, a drift tune, which of course we don't do all that often. But the reason why I decided on a drift tune for this car is twofold. One, it's naturally a very tail-happy vehicle, but also because of the fact that even fully tuned, it's well below the limit for N100. It's going to struggle under most circumstances against the pinnacle of N100 cars, which have about 145, say 146 horsepower, stuff like the Mini, the Abarth, various others too. So instead of even trying to take those on, we've gone for something completely different purely for the fun of it, to get some drift action out of the car. Now of course drifting is at least as personal in terms of driving style as circuit racing is, maybe even more so you could argue. So this tune won't necessarily work for everyone, since different people have different drifting styles, but give it a try, of course adjust certain things and see how you go. So as far as the upgrades, I would recommend having the weight as low as you can. Pretty much. You could basically increase the weight if you want to, maybe have it as ballast in a sort of sense, but it's not entirely necessary. As far as power, I would recommend fully upgrading it. It's still under 100, but of course you have to work with what you're given. As far as traction control, well of course you want that turned off, goes without saying. As far as tyres, I've gone for comfort softs on the front, comfort hards on the back. That will be very open to personal preference, personal interpretation, because many people like to use tons of different types of tyre combination for their drift cars, so I'll leave that down to you. As far as the suspension, we've got the ride height as low as possible, then I've got 2 for the frequency, which is, in other words, as high as it will go. Then as far as the anti-roll, again as high as it will go. As far as the compression and rebound on the dampers, we've gone as low as possible, because the springs take care of that. As far as the camber, I've gone all the way up. You don't necessarily have to go that high, but it's partially for the look. I wanted it to be kind of stanced as well. And then as far as the toe angle, we've towed it out by 50 degrees and then towed it out all the way up to 0.5 degrees, not 50 degrees, and then 1 degree for the front. Then as far as the aero, of course, you can't adjust that. As far as the diff, I've gone for 20, 60 and 5, as you can see. Again, rear engine, rear wheel drive car, so different people will want different things as far as the diff, but that's what I'm opting for. And as far as the gearbox, again, not a speed build. It's not a circuit tune, it's not trying to set the best lap. So I've gone for an auto setting of 81 miles per hour, then individual gears of first, I think that's stock, I don't recall changing that one, then 1475 for second, 1130, 9 and 0.663 for fifth in particular. And basically the reason for those is you can get through the gears pretty quickly, but then fifth gear allows you to get up over 100 miles per hour if and when you need to. And then as far as the final drive, we've gone for 3.9. So as I said, very, very wide open to interpretation. Different people have different styles, different preferences, but to show you what it can do in a drift scenario, let's actually see it in action. Now, as far as actually using this car and this tune, I'd say it's a pretty easy one to do. It's not a car which will completely save you through every corner with a perfect drift. Of course, you can still overcook it, but it's very forgiving. It's very beginner friendly, I would say. The car itself isn't overly expensive, so it's a pretty good entry point if you want to drive something and drift something that isn't just super easy, like all-wheel drive is, for instance. So it's a bit more of a challenge, but not too much of one. Having 100 horsepower is more than enough, and I will say that this kind of drift car, at least with this tune, much more highly favours tight technical drifting rather than wide open corners. It's okay on those corners, but it's much better on like 90-degree turns, and especially hairpins. It's very easy to hold a nice little drift with it, as of course you can see in this kind of montage from the couple of laps that I did with it. So if you do decide to use this drift tune, of course, I hope you have a ton of fun with it, and it is the kind of car that will, I think, be quite popular for drifting. It's got that kind of look, it naturally has the tail-happy nature, so take it out, see what you think of it, maybe play around with the tune, and of course if you want to check out more tunes, be it drifting, circuit, drag, whatever the case may be, you can click right here on screen to see all of those. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.